Now you talk about people and those two managers having call off. What does your team structure look like?
So right now we have about 27 employees. We have
Hmm.
different departments within the bakery that specializes in different sectors to make it run. There's the office team where we have an operations manager, myself, and a sales manager. And then there's a pastry kitchen that has a pastry chef as well as pastry sous chef. And then we have the bread kitchen that has the head bread baker as well as her sous chef. And then we have the dishwashing team, and then the logistics team, which is in charge of all the packaging as well as delivering.
How many delivers do you make every morning?
Depends on the day. I would say on the weekends it's quite large because of different accounts having brunches and more orders. But I would say anywhere from 30 to 40 is normal.
Wait, so somebody has to go to 30 to 40, or there's different vans, or
Yeah, we
like how
have
does that
three
work in the morning?
vehicles. So
And they all
we,
have to be done by opening for them, right? Or is it
of course,
like an 8 a.m., 9 a.m. thing?
no cafe accounts start at 6 a.m. So we have overnight bakers who end their shift at 10:30, and we also have the first one in, which is an a.m. baker well, 3 a.m. bakers who start at 3 a.m. in the morning, and our drivers start at 4 a.m. to start delivering some of those products.
Oh, wow. How do you manage that shift? Is there a manager there on staff too for problems that arise?
Yes. So usually there is a 3 a.m. Manager who's in charge of the actual production. So we'll have a
Uh-huh.
bread sous chef or someone along those lines within that time. And then the 4 a.m. person is the logistics manager. And she's in charge of dispatching all the cars, packing all of the breads and pastries to make sure that they go out with our more line employees who are drivers and packers.
So when you were scaling to that point, obviously when you started, was it just you and doing everything, or how did you get to the point where like it? Because it sounds like you've got a good amount of hierarchy here to help take things off, unless
Yes.
there's COVID scares. But
Yes.
uh, how did you get to that point?
So when I first started, we didn't even have retail at all. It was all just starting with wholesale. And when you start with two or three accounts, there's no budget to actually hire a manager or even a
Right.
driver. So I am literally in the kitchen making things and then waking up or staying up all night and delivering it the next morning, which is kind of crazy. We've come a long way within the 4 years that we've stayed
So were
open.
you working nights then, basically, to get everything ready for the morning deliveries?
I was working about 16 hours a day every day
Okay, day and
for,
nights. Yeah.
yeah, day and nights, all day. And depending on the needs of the bakery, it was really a hard grind. Definitely coming from you know working in every position to now more of an overseeing position where I'm in charge of looking to the future of the bakery rather than doing the operational day to day things unless it's needed, like on that day that I needed to cancel.
So how did you scale the people hiring then? Was it, because I think a lot of us, me included, will hire to give us more capacity to like print more, to bake
Mm-hmm.
more. But then eventually that doesn't scale because you're the touch point to everybody
Right.
versus, a manager. Was there any process you were following, or was there another restaurant that you were like, here's the flow of it to build this up? Or
Prior to opening, I definitely went around to different bakeries to see what their model was like and what their structure was like. Zingerman's in Michigan happens to be one of the more memorable ones since they're a huge operation and they have a bakery as well as all these restaurants that they're doing all the breads and pastries for. So I
mm,
mean, that's our operation times, I don't know, maybe 10, 20. definitely learned from that, as well as public and quality bread. Greg Wade was nice enough to kind of show me how his operation worked. But I think for us, it was more of a learning experience as we went along in the process of opening. It didn't necessarily fall and pan out exactly like those two places that I just mentioned. And I think we grew it department by department. So first was obviously the kitchen positions, the having
Mm-hmm.
a head baker as well as a pastry sous chef or a pastry lead, and then going into an operations manager so that they can start structuring more of the paperwork side, like making invoices and creating orders. Because I was doing that to begin with too, and then it went to I think the last addition in terms of the managerial hierarchy that was very necessary was that logistics manager position, which was dispatching and packing and delivery. So that last position kind of fell in, and after that, it was a matter of hiring people right below them as supervisors, and then we just kept on hiring. And I think we have even a little bit more room to take on more growth in the bakery, which is kind of scary to think about because there's only so many square footage, but we're doing it.
Yeah. So so there's the manager, then there's a supervisor under them, and then there's
Mhm.
the people on the ground floor that are
Yes.
got it. Is there and the manager will oversee one supervisor or multiple supervisors?
It's one per department, pretty much.
Okay, got it. And then how many, people on the ground floor do you know that you need until you need another supervisor, let's say, to help? Like, is it a 5 to 1, or does it just depend? Some are less, some are more.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that you just said 5 to 1 because that's pretty much where we're at right now. I
Mm,
think as soon as we start reaching 7 or 8 line employees, we would probably have to add one more supervisor, like that junior manager position.
got it. And how do you find those supervisor roles? Because we try to promote people up.
Hmm.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you got to bring somebody from outside. How have you gone about that?
Yeah, most of it has been internal promotions. We have been very lucky with turnover in terms of the original crew. There are people that has come and gone throughout the pandemic, especially because that's a very difficult thing, I think, to manage just people in general right now. But
Hmm.
ever since we opened, we have had a handful of people that have stayed since the beginning, and not even just that, but going back even further to places that I have worked with these people prior to the bakery. Um,
Oh, so you brought them with from previous
exactly,
restaurants.
exactly. So there's some sort of a working relationship that I'm familiar with. For example, my operations manager, she used to be my pastry sous chef at a hotel that I worked at. And although she was, you know, a completely capable sous chef, since then she's had a child and she wanted to be able to work office hours. And I've always thought she was very intelligent and very organized. And I thought, you know what, like we're a new company. We can try anything that we want. Why don't we try this position where you become an operations manager, and what more can you ask for, for someone to operate something where she actually knows how to produce the product and how long it takes to make something or how difficult it is to make something for that person to be in charge. It's worked out very well. So we've had some very interesting shifts where, I had a pastry cook who it's kind of different even within a bakery. Bread baking and pastry, like sweets, the kind of personality and the kind of traits that you have to succeed in each department is a little bit different. And I've always thought that this pastry cook would be a better bread baker. And she made that transition, and now she's our head baker. So there's a lot of promoting within. And then I have also hired from outside. That all depends on, obviously, that initial interview. I think a lot of it has to do more with personality traits rather than what's on your resume. Of course, I'm looking for quality jobs on the resume, but
Industry experience too, or no?
Yeah, of course, industry experience. But there's just some things that can't be taught, like enthusiasm, motivation, willingness to learn, or just your overall intelligence. I feel like if you have those things, you can learn and adapt. And for us being a bakery that has both a wholesale and a retail model, there aren't too many places that are like us. So I'm not necessarily looking for people with that same background. I'm looking for someone that can adapt and learn with us, especially because we are newer business.